I tied my hair into a ponytail at the top of my head and put on fake gla.s.ses. Even with just this, the impression of me changed a lot. As for my clothing, I changed out of my usual white dress into a white tunic and black slacks, then proceeded to put on the crimson mantle like before. But unlike before, I didn't cover my whole body and just wore it casually. Lastly, Dina hid my wings by wrapped a bandage around them. Mysteriously, the wings could no longer be seen to the point that people would not even realize I was from the angel race. The bandage was a camouflage item that Migraz had synthesized and prepared for me. Apparently, there was a stealth magic enchanted on it, and any part that is wrapped by it would blend into the surrounding and would become invisible and unable to be seen. He gifted to me together with the clothing after saying it's probably uncomfortable to move around as before, and I'm really appreciative of that. How is it, Migraz? Does it suit me? Yeah, whatever you wear suits you well. Thanks to Migraz, I was unexpectedly freed from my self-bondage play. No, honestly I wasn't expecting him to help out this much. From his point of view, I'm his sworn enemy from the past who had suddenly resurrected, and it would be normal for him to act with hostility. But instead, from the fact that he is giving me support like this, I'm overly thankful for it that I should start suspecting if this is actually a trap or not. Hey Ruppaz, are you guys not spiteful of us? At that time, without a doubt, you guys were in such an ideal place that you could have reached a utopia any moment. The ideal world you were aiming for was right around the corner. And the ones that ruined all that is us who betrayed you. Do you not detest us for that? I pondered on what Migraz just said for a bit. I really don't feel hateful or anything of that sort, and there really isn't a reason for me to feel that way. Because to me, that fight was nothing more than a game, and not something that I experienced firsthand. That's why instead of answering the question, I decided to give him a response in my own way. If I suffer a rebellion by my own subjects, it simply means I wasn't suited to being a king. If you guys decided you were dissatisfied with me, it also simply means I wasn't capable enough as a ruler and a Virginia Sal for you all. There is not a single reason for me to be hateful of you guys. I continued checking my own appearance on the mirror by taking various poses from a different angle. Yep, this is pretty good. It's easy to move in, and more than anything, this is not haughty. Due to the bombshare.e.l.l appear of my character, it's inevitable that I will stand out, but it's 10 times better than being a suspicious person wearing a bright red mantle. That's why you should stop blaming yourself. Honestly, it's too painful to look at. Ruppaz was the invader, and he was the hero that defeated her. That's all there is to 200 years ago, and it's fine that way. It's always the winner that creates the age. TLN. Doflamingo, is that you? /quote image. As such, the moment I lost, I no longer had the qualification to say anything, neither do I feel like saying anything. Therefore, if the winning side keeps suffering, it really feels unsettling. For the citizens of this country, you're a hero. Be dignified. Just like 200 years ago. I'll painfully accept that warning. Thank you. The warmth of a small smile returns to his face. I'm sure with this strict personality he'll continue to ponder, but I think it should at least be better than before. If anything, it should be this side that should apologize. Especially the trap sheep that's hiding in the corner. But Ares has stubbornly said I don't want to apologize to someone that betrayed my master and has not said a single apology to Migraz yet. Now then, it's about time for me to leave. Levia, whom Ares weakened, should be fine with that. I appreciate it. The current I would not have been able to restore the lost max HP. Ares's attack had decreased Levia's maximum HP, but given water, the material which constant I.toots its body, restoration was possible. That being said, even if it was possible for Migraz to restore Levia, it was impossible for him to fully restore it to the previous state. That was the portion I helped out with. But to be able to fully recover with just water is quite convenient, isn't it? Anyways, in regards to Levia, there should be no problem with this. Ruppaz Have a good journey, no need to say it. Receiving Migraz's encouragement, I unintentionally smiled. I then waved my hands, leaving Migraz's house behind. I proceeded straight, leaving the N.O.Ble district and walked into the commercial district. In the middle of the way, I spotted the character-defining bold head Gans and decided to take a short detour to say goodbye. Gans. NNN? Oh, ow. What a babe. Lady-san, do you require anything from me? Hey, what's with that way of speech after all this time? Look, it's me. It's you, Subhiro. Wasn't I under your care when I came to the city? Gans was lost for words when I said that, following on with a surprised cry the next moment. Oh yeah, I hadn't shown my face to Gans yet. I guess I screwed up a little there, as I thought so. We are leaving Suvel country now in any place, so it doesn't really matter too much. So, when you say Subhiro, you mean that suspicious red mantle. You were actually this much of a beauty. Ha, don't praise me, don't. I just thought I'll come and say goodbye because we decided to leave the country. We are indebted to you, Gans-san. We're returning to our journey. I laughed towards the surprised Gans, while Dina says her parting words. Ares is maybe feeling responsible, hid behind my back and didn't even show his face. He's completely acting like a small animal, this guy. Oh, ow, I see. You're going already. Both of you, and that cute-looking small girl, all take care, okay? He's a guy you know. For real. Ha. Well then, Gans. If fate strings us together, let's meet again. Suppasu. Never mind, it's nothing. Be well. Take care. After saying farewell to Gans, we left Suvel. Gans looked like he wanted to ask me something at the end, but he didn't end asking anything. He most probably wanted to ask about me blowing Ares away, but thinking about the possible complexity behind the circuit.misdances for us, had decided not to. Either that or, perhaps he had an inkling behind my ident.I.tie. Whichever it is, he was a good guy. I hope he lives a long time. So, Dina. You said the destination is approximate 500 kilometers from here, but what do you plan to do? I don't mind walking there. Yes, I have a proposal. How about making a golem that can transport us? What, you don't want to walk? Of course not. It's tiring. Once we leave Suvel, it's a never-ending gra.s.sland. There seemed to be a road-looking thing made, but walking on that the whole time might be quite depressing. Though, the current I will never tire from something like walking, so the experience on its own might be something I could enjoy. And above all else, to journey this distance by foot, isn't there some charm to it? But Dina doesn't like it, She requested for me to make a golem. What I've learned since coming to this world is, golem isn't as mindless as it was back in the game, and thus to a certain degree it's more flexible. For example, in the game, it'll arbitrary to attack the enemy and mindlessly continue its attack, but, in this world, something like Levia could properly follow Migres's direction and could act quite intelligently. Furthermore, there's no restriction to the shape it could take, which means if I shape it like a car, it could act as an automatically driving car. So if it's a question of whether Dina's request is possible or not, the answer is easily possible. I guess I shall try making it. While you're at it, so that we don't have to sleep outdoors, why don't you put beds and baths at once? Dina just casually made a grade-up request. I was thinking about to make a convertible car out of whim, but, at this rate, it'll become a camper car. When I glanced at Ares, although he was usually una.s.assertive, this time he was staring at me with great antic.I.p.ation. I support he was curious as to what I was going to make. Well, I'll try. Firstly, in regards to the iron used to make the majority of the car, I can just use the minerals in the rocks lying in the surroundings as material. As for the furniture, I can think about that later on. For the bath, I will build a separate room. It should be fine if I create a cauldron bath later. Or rather, the bath in this world is normally a cauldron bath. There's no way a convenient contemporary bath could exist, and I don't know about the specifics enough to be able to recreate it. As for the bed, I can shape the framework using the trees over there, but the problem is the mattress and the bed cover to lay on top of it. Those alone, I can't use the trees and rocks in the environment, nor the concretes or irons developed from them. If only there were cotton or feathers it'll be different, but... Oh! What's wrong, Rupa-sama? Is there something on my face? There's one nearby, cotton. Okay, I'll ask Aries to turn into a sheep later on so I can shave some wool from him. Although you can't say there are sufficient materials, there's at least a minimum required amount. With this, we can make something decent. Transaction M.U.Tashan. Firstly, I trans.M.U.Ted the minerals in the rocks into an iron. Both the trans.M.U.Tashan of materials and trans.M.U.Tading them into a different material is part of the basic ability of an alchemist. However, the level of the profession CLA.S.S determines what you can trans.M.U.Te, and in the initial stage, sometimes, you cannot trans.M.U.Te one material to another. Someone like Mizal with the profession level at 200 could grab some rock and casually trans.M.U.Te them into a legendary tier material, so it can be quite terrifying. Since I have stopped leveling it at level 100, I can't go that far. I then retrans.M.U.Te the iron into a camping car. That being said, I'm not particularly familiar with the specifics of the cars, therefore, it's really just the shape of the car. The movement is left entirely to the golem, there isn't even a driver's seat. Next, I trans.M.U.Te the GLA.S.S with the sand in the surrounding, attaching it as the window. I made several wards inside and installed a big pot in one of them to serve as the cauldron bath. While I'm at it, I guess I'll make a kitchen. I can't make something fancy like an electronic stove though. It's antiquated, a kitchen that's fitting of this world's civilization's advancement. Next is Aries, turn back to sheep for a bit. I'm going to use your wool. If you consider the size of Aries in his sheep form, it's really a small amount, furthermore, it will naturally grow back. I jump onto the top of Aries when he turned back to sheep form after being told so, then proceeded to cut some wool with a small dagger, then making it into a material for futon, TLN, thin mattress used in J.A.Pan. If you think about it using this world's standard, it'll be a horrifyingly luxurious and fluffy bed. While I was at it, I built a wooden chair and placed a Kaz.H.I plus on made out of Aries' wool. Yosh, I guess this is enough for now. There are many things that are inadequate, but we can buy those later in some city. All in all, as long as it runs, it's fine. Here, since it's a good situation, let's check out at its stats. I also need to give it a name too. Like gun_M or GE_ter, something like that. Now then, how should I name this guy? I don't want it to be too airy, but it also can't be something that's easily forgotten. What a ha.s.sle. Let's go with Tanaka. Tanaka level, 200 species, artificial being HP, 12000 SP, 0 STR, strength/attack power 555 dex, dexterity 120 VIT, vitality 658 int, intelligence 9 AGI, agility/speed 1020 MND, mind power 75 luck 100 apparently. The shape of the golem determines the ups and downs of the status. This wasn't a possible concept back in the game. Since I made it into the shape of the car, the speed stat had somehow stretched a lot. That being said, because this AGI refers to agility that decides the speed in the battle and not the speed of the movement, this high numerical value doesn't mean it'll travel fast. Well, even with that, if this car and I have a race, I'm confident I will win. Wow, as expected of Rupa-sama. This'll be an easy trip. What a self-interested person, Dina starts to praise me instead of complaining. Matching that, Aries is nodding, but since it's a pure and straightforward praise, I'll accept it. But you need to turn back quickly. With that just nodding creates an amazing wind pressure. Entering inside, I order the camping car to head towards north. Soon after, it's as if it understood what was said and the car started moving. With this, we should be able to proceed to our destination considerably comfortably. That's right. I'll procure the necessary furniture. I'm going to teleport around a bit and buy them, so please wait for a little bit. Saying so, Dina didn't even wait for my response and just vanished. It is convenient as usual, that teleportation magic. I'm really envious. Or rather, it's a bit late now, but I should have just flown back when we were heading to Seville, since Dina can just teleport. Because even if I left Dina behind, she can just come teleporting. Anyways, it's too late now, and now we have Aries, so we can't even that anymore. Yair, why do I always notice things afterwards when it's too late? I really am out of it. Well, whatever. For now, I think I'll fiddle with the interior a bit. Asterisk ha. HAAA. At the boot of the Gare volcano. There, one young boy was dragging his injured body, crawling whilst leaving a trail of blood behind. Just one hit, as if repelling an annoying bug, he had received that one attack only. But even so, he couldn't even stand up. Crawling like an insect in a sorry state, as if desperately running away from an opponent who has long left the scene. Are you, Ruppa's Mafal is? The one and the only devil that person is scared of came back. Ah, this is a nightmare. Something like this can't. It was fortunate that he was level 300. And because Ruppas had paid no need to him, and only handled with him noncommittally, that was the only possible explanation as to the reason he was able to escape with his life. Didn't even consider his existence. Indeed, it was a great humiliation. Nevertheless, without a doubt, it was his greatest fortune. Because of that, he right now is still alive. Although, that fortune didn't last long. Oh my. You're still alive. He heard a chilling cold voice that's clearly looking down on him. Mars, with his unresponsive body, desperately turned towards the direction of the voice. Standing there was one person. The blue-haired young girl was standing there. Her face could not be seen due to the backlight. Her plain white dress for some reason seemed like a luxurious dress. Is this what you call grace? Or perhaps it should be called as presence. In any case, this girl possessed something mysterious along those words. But that face, no, the outline of the mouth distorted as if drew a half-crescent smile, it is full of joy. It's no good, you know. An actor who had completed their role must properly exit the stage. A piece who had already been defeated can't reappear later and making measures. No one wants something like that. If you finish your role, you leave. That's the rule of the game. Why, you're... What are you exactly? A girl laughs cutely at a poor clown who had finished playing his role. She has no intention to answer the question of the young boy. Pleasant memory for the afterlife, there's some phrase like that, but she is not going to give such a troublesome respectful service like that. Just promptly, beautifully. Just like weeding out a gra.s.s, to just erase this mistake with its death. That was inside the girl, was just this cruel mentality. Goodbye, Mars. Pitiful, pitiful NPC. A few seconds later. The boy no longer existed there. He had disappeared without trace, as if he had never existed in the first place. Not even a single strand of hair remained. And the girl who made such a thing happen was also nowhere to be found in that place. Author note, impression. If you think in terms of internet games, MMO, Migres word is, begging a retiring high player for their things. Migres. Impression B, you really shameless Migres. Impression C, I can't believe that Migres that proudly uses the reason that mankind requires it to promote raiding the tomb of the deceased. Migres. Migres asterisk more, please. Abuse me more, despise me more, please. Only the stabbing, sharp contempt and disdain from the direction of the Supreme Ruler's supporters let me feel the sin I've committed and dims my conscience. Haha Ruppas, good evening everyone. I'm M87 Lightline, M87. For now, Aries arc comes to a finish here. Next we're entering Libra arc. But because half the stock has been used up, the update from now will slow down. I'm thinking to 2 release per week. If you don't mind this slow release, please continue to support me. Well then, let's meet again next time. Author note end, __TLN, and no, the author's note doesn't affect the translation. The series has already concluded in j.a.pan/raw, so I'll be uploading whenever my translation is done for the chapter. I hope you won't mind my irregular release rate. Several men were traveling along the dark, stone-paved road. Torch in hand, sword at the waist. The men behind were equipped with staves or bows. From their orderly movements, it was obvious that they were veterans who overcame a lot of hards.H.I+PS. However, fatigue was evident on the faces of such robust men. Numerous scars were left on their armors. A man in the center, who seemed to be a wizard, was missing an arm. It had been H.E.L.L up until this point. In the past, Rupas Mafalma.S.S produced golems each considered to be comparable to the sword saint of today for the final battle. These golems wandered around, attacking them in multiple ambushes. A large party of more than 50 men had now been reduced to merely 10 survivors. This was the place where the treasures of the Overlord were kept. This was the black-winged royal tomb, whose soul slept through the ages according to legends. Seeking the hidden treasures, the tomb was infiltrated at times by treasure hunters, invaded at times by tomb robbers, and at times entered by soldiers like these men, who were dispatched in the hope of reversing the dire situation facing the humanoids. However, this place was a merciless HELL. Intruders would lose their lives and be slaughtered mercilessly. Even if there was only one golem, it would still be a threat. In a head-on battle, they would be instantly killed. Therefore, they avoided combat and escaped from traps, losing companions constantly along the way until they reached the top floor. A bit more, and we are there. Ah! Everyone's sacrifices wouldn't be in vain, we must bring out the weapons here. Honestly, they did not have the strength to challenge this tomb. In this current world, only the 7 heroes were powerful enough to challenge this tomb. Despite this, they came anyway because they hoped to achieve victory for the humanoids. They sincerely hoped to end the darkness of this world, no matter the sacrifice. This was for the sake of the children and for their families and loved ones. These 10 men overcame their fear of death, abandoned their self-preservation, and moved forward. But reality was unforgiving. The unavoidable, unpsa.s.sable, and biggest obstacle waited at the top floor. Intruders confirmed, warning, leave this place in 10 seconds. Non-compliance or hostile behavior will be met with elimination by force. The treasury on the top floor was guarded by one of the 12 heavenly stars. As the most powerful golem in history, this merciless guardian was Libra of the Scales. Her appearance was that of a lovely girl. A hairband adorned her shoulder length, light brown hair. Her maid dress was torn and had deteriorated over the years. The girl herself exuded a sense of ageless youth and her eyes were like emotionless GLA.S.S.O.B. Her sleeves were torn, exposing her arms as if to show that she was an inhuman construct. Her stained joints were squeaking and cracked. As the men confirmed her ident.I.T, they got into position. This is Libra of the Scales. Please wait, 12 heavenly stars. We are not here for a fight. Please listen to us. Starting countdown, 10, 9, 8. I beg you, please listen. Currently, humanoids are being cornered by demons. To escape this fate, we had to come here. 7, 6, 5. For the humanoids' victory. The Blackwing's legacy here is absolutely necessary. 4. Stopping countdown. Clarified intruders' goals, acknowledged as foreign enemies after Master's treasures. Elimination condition met. The countdown stopped, but the men realized that did not mean the end of hostility. Instead, the other party had judged that countdown was no longer necessary. Her elimination condition had just been met. Wait. Proceeding with elimination program selection. Brachium, activate. Everything was stained white. That was the last sight of the world seen by those men. In the end, they vanished from this world without leaving a speck of dust behind. Libra the camping car, Tanaka, traveled for approximately 2 days, arriving at our second destination, my tomb. It felt surreal to be visiting my own tomb. If someone was crying before the tomb, I would definitely sing, I am not there. I think around here would be nice. Tanaka is too conspicuous, so let it stay in the nearby forest. Okay, I understand. Yes, boss. I told Tanaka, who replied in English for some reason, to stop at the forest and await further orders. Otherwise, this car would automatically follow behind. Then, I alighted along with Dina and Ares, and aimed for the place where there might be a tomb. I said aim, but it could already be seen right before us, a huge pyramid. I heard about it from Migres previously, but this was really unnecessarily big. Even with alchemy, it was impressive that a structure of this size was built and still stood unbroken today. Although the Tower of Mafal would not lose in terms of its ridiculous architecture, only someone like Mizar could have built something like this. Oh. Actually, both structures belong to me, although I didn't know about the tomb previously. Why is there a village around the tomb? Oh well, this is tourism, adventurers and treasure hunters gathered here to raid the tomb, so merchants gathered here to make a profit out of them. Population increased over time, and eventually it became a village. My tomb is practically a tourist attraction. It is actually a tourist attraction. The tombs of world-famous people usually become tourist attractions in later generations. Hearing Dina's explanation, I helplessly replied with an ah. I supposed it was not surprising that my pyramid would become a sightseeing spot in this world. Even though I was still here, I had a tomb, and it even became a tourist attraction. Ah, this was pretty disturbing. Lady Ruppaz, leave it to me. As I considered this, Ares pounded his chest enthusiastically for some reasons. However, because of his facial features, he looked like a determined maiden instead of a resolved man. This nearly brought on tears. Let me kick these people away. It's outrageous for them to gather to raid Lady Ruppaz's tomb. As he said so, Ares enveloped his entire body in flames. Hey, stop it, you fool. Surely you don't intend to become a giant sheep here? You are the outrageous one, you stupid sheep. Stop it, Ares. There's no need for a pointless disturbance. But. There's no but. Besides, since I'm still here, that cannot be my tomb. I feel bad for the people who built this, but that is merely a structure that I do not know of. It doesn't matter even if such a place is raided. I had to calm Ares down and avoid causing a disturbance. That was dangerous. Despite his appearance, this guy became really reckless when it was something that concerned me. Surely not everyone in the 12 heavenly stars were like this? I appreciated the devotion, but this was giving a headache. So, what now, Dina? Should we infiltrate as traveling merchants again? Of course. Since this is a tourist attraction, it's not unusual for merchants to come here. Well, you can leave all the negotiations to me. Well, this advisor was still reliable as usual. Nothing went wrong so far when I left things to Dina, so let her handle it this time as well. Or rather, if Dina was not here, I would be seriously stuck. The first thing I noticed when I entered the village was temporary shelters like tents deployed everywhere. These probably belonged to merchants or traveling adventurers. There were wooden houses too, which were probably the homes of full-time tomb raiders or people providing service support. Inns and taverns existed as well. The liveliness here did not seem like it was next to a tomb. If I was really dead, it would be impossible to rest in peace here. Now then, I will find the agent to acquire a trading permit. Lady Ruppaz, that inn looks quite nice. Could you get a room at that inn? I will go there after I'm done. Dina ran off without waiting for my reply. She sure was energetic. Well, if she was so confident, there shouldn't be a problem. Dina is amazing. Yes. She's surprising useful. Why was she so stealthy 200 years ago though? I wondered what race Dina belonged to. She did not have elven ears, so she couldn't be an elf. She did not have wings, so she couldn't be a flugel. She had no fangs, so she couldn't be a vampire. Since she remained youthful after 200 years, she couldn't be a human, dwarf, hobbit, or beastman. She also could not be a demon due to her skin color. Then again, there were many ways to conceal one's features, such as how I hid my wings. Therefore, I shouldn't judge only by appearance. Currently, her most likely race would be an elf with her ears concealed. If she was a flugel, she would be disgusted by my black wings. If she was a vampire, she couldn't walk around in daylight. But this begged the question, why did she conceal her features in the first place? Well, whatever. There was no doubt that she was helping me, whatever she might be. This was simply unjustified suspicion. Let's go to that inn Dina mentioned. I hope there are vacant rooms. Ideally, there were 3 vacant rooms. Firstly, I was mentally male, so I couldn't stay with Dina. But since my body was female, the same would be true with Aries. Likewise, Aries couldn't stay with Dina due to their different genders. Therefore, the ideal would be to have 3 rooms. As I pondered this, I opened the inn's door and entered. There were 4 men, who appeared to be adventurers, talking with another man, who appeared to be the innkeeper. Upon seeing me and Aries, the innkeeper jumped over the counter and came forward. Oh, welcome, ladies. I'm honored to be visited by such beauties. If you want rooms, they are available and are very cheap. But, uncle, currently, we have room reservations. Later. This innkeeper seemed like someone who stayed true to his desires. He was truly manly in the sense of ignoring the customers who came first in order to prioritize us. Well, this must be what was meant by beauty always wins. When you actually experienced it yourself, it was somewhat uncomfortable. Well, cheap is good. Innkeeper, do you have 3 rooms? 3 rooms, aren't there only 2 of you? There will be 1 more coming later. I see, of course, there are. Oh, there were vacant rooms? That would be nice. As I thought so, the 4 adventurers yelled angrily, Hey! Hey, uncle! There are only 3 vacant rooms now, right? If you let her have 3 rooms, what about us? Lady first. Give up. ub.a.s.t.a.r.d. Between 4 men who delayed payment and a beautiful woman, anyone would choose the latter. I'm no different. Blame yourselves for delaying payment. Like I said, we already paid. Anyway, I finally understood the situation as I looked on the men who were still arguing. These adventurers frequently delayed payments, and were about to reserve the rooms again after paying. At that moment, Aries and I arrived, so that uncle prioritized us. It wasn't like I couldn't understand their feelings. After all, I used to be a man. Even now, I intended to remain male mentally, so I could understand them. However, the order was important. Since they came first, they should get priority. Then, what would be a good solution? Well, it wasn't like there were none. Innkeeper, do you have a moment? Oh, lady. Please wait a while. I will drive them away now. Concerning this matter, I feel bad about depriving the people who came first. Since it couldn't be helped, we will take only 2 rooms. How about this? It couldn't be helped that it became like this. Since there were 2 rooms, Dina would get 1, while Aries and I would stay in the other. Aries probably wouldn't salt me and probably wouldn't get in heat. Although it was not ideal, it should still be the better choice. I hoped Dina wouldn't complain later about being left alone. Libra in a room that could not be described as wide. People were sitting by a 7-sided table inside. The 7 sides symbolized the main elements of this world: fire, water, wood, metal, earth, sun, and moon. Only demonic commanders, who were given T.I.Tles of the A.S. associated element, were allowed to sit there. There should have been 7 people, but only 6 were there now. The one who should have been sitting at the seat of fire was absent. What happened to Mars? The man at the seat of wood said with dissatisfaction. They were usually at odds with each other. Despite being comrades sitting together, there was no trust between them. Each individual was plotting to kick someone else. Since the remaining others became deterrents, N.O.Body could anything. Under such unstable equilibrium, the 7 luminaries were formed. Now, he was anxious that they were still waiting for the one who was supposed to their equal. Who knows? He's probably dead, right? The monsters following him were gone. Aries was also gone. I doubt he is still alive. The woman at the seat of earth said happily. There was no lamentation or indignation in her voice regarding the possibility that her comrade died. Instead, there was delight, as if saying, it's better if he's gone. Was he killed by Migraz, or attacked by Aries? In any case, It became like this because he tried to manipulate the 12 stars without understanding his own capabilities. Ha! He is the weakest among the 7 luminaries. It is a disgrace to all demons for him to be killed by the 12 stars. Hey, stop it, idiot. That line is somewhat tasteless. The man at the seat of water speculated about the cause of death, while the ominous woman Tled Gold made a joke as if she was waiting for the opening. The man at the seat of moon quickly stopped her. Anyway, Mars was probably killed by someone. Ares of the 12 stars also disappeared. This is a very serious situation. Finally, the male leader Tled Sun spoke softly and looked at the others. He was not angry at the death of Mars, but if there was someone who could defeat one of the 7 luminaries, the matter could not be overlooked. If it was the 12 stars or 7 heroes, it might still be acceptable. But what if it was someone else? That would be a threat that could not be disregarded. Venus, you should be in Svalin then. Did you see the killer? Of course. Oh. Who was it? I don't know. I felt that I would be killed if I came too close. However, I remember she has beautiful black wings. It was a female gorgeous enough to mesmerize onlookers. Regarding the man of Sun's question, the woman named Venus smiled pleasantly, while the surrounding people were far from smiling. A beautiful, black-winged female who could kill the 7 luminaries. There was body here that wouldn't think of her upon hearing those words. But it was impossible. She should have died 200 years ago. Could it be Rapazmoffel? Is she still alive? Impossible. She should have been killed by the humanoids 200 years ago. Rapazmoffel. That was a name more frightening to the demons than hero. That was a tyrant who dominated the entire world and successfully unified the humanoids. Her fighting ability was greater than those of comparable heroes and was considered among the best in the world. More importantly, her existence embodied fear itself. It didn't whether one was hostile or not, whether one was a demon or not, she would kill everyone. As if to crush the enemy's fighting spirits, she impaled their heads on spears and exposed them to the sky. Begging for mercy was useless. Combatants who pleaded, "Please spare me for the sake of my family," had their skulls crushed under her feet. She caught fleeing enemies by their heads and pulled them out along with the spinal cords. She crushed absurdities with extreme absurdity and shattered unreasonableness with extreme unreasonableness. She dismembered invaders into 8 pieces. She was the invader of all invaders. The black-winged angel was a terrifying nightmare to demons. Everyone was afraid of coming into contact with her. There would be no escape and no help forthcoming. If anyone encountered her, it would mean the end of his life. There were no exception. There were no demon who survived entering her line of sight. Fortunately, Rupa's extreme cruelty provoked the fear and backlash of her fellow humanoids. She was eventually put to an end by the heroes, but she already slaughtered countless demons by then. If she was still alive, the situation between demons and humanoids might reverse itself. The possibility that this fear incarnate might still be alive made the place turbulent. The Black-Winged Queen, the only one whom the Demon King would avoid a direct battle, if she is still alive, we should be discussing about the crisis facing the demons instead of the 7 heroes. Venus, do you know her current whereabouts? Yes, she is currently at the Black-Winged Royal Tomb. Good. You continue to monitor her. Report to me immediately as soon as you find anything. Certainly. The girl, who was Tled Metal, acknowledged the order from the leader of the 7 luminaries with a single word. Illuminated by the light S.H.I plus Ning-in from the windows, her respectful bow somehow seemed like an act and her smile seemed to ridicule everything. Author's notes: Black-Winged Royal Tomb, known as the most difficult dungeon in the world, this pyramid has 108 floors. It is impenetrable from the outside. Golems, Ma.S.S produced by Rapazmoffel 200 years ago, patrol the interior. Even the weakest one is as strong as the Sword Saint. The number of golems increased as one ascended the floors. Frequently, level 300 to 400 golems appear in groups. A level 600 gatekeeper stands before the stairs leading to the 107th floor. After defeating, or avoiding, it and somehow reaching the top floor, level 910 Libra of the scales awaits. A defense-ignoring attack with fixed damage will be initiated. No matter how you struggle, it will be game over. Light Novel Volume 2 cover footnotes I am not there is derived from Do Not Stand at My Grave and Weep / I am not there. I do not sleep, which are the opening lines of the poem Do Not Stand at My Grave and Weep by Mary Elizabeth Fry. The poem was translated into J.A. Pains and composed into a song called Become a Thousand Winds by Man Aray. A wild last boss appeared.